Hey, all Cinephile Mike here, and it is day 59 of Oscar Rewind, my bi weekly series of videos where I revisit films that reflect the earlier work of this past year's Oscar nominees and winners. As always, I'll be discussing the awards history for the film, the box office information, the critical response, and as always, these reviews will be spoiler free. You can find all older episodes here on the YouTube channel, or you can head over to my website, cinephilemike.com, for a lot of great additional content. Now, before I jump in, please make sure that you click that subscribe button, click that like button, join the conversation. So much good stuff to come. First, before I jump in, I want to do a quick apology for anyone that may have been looking for this last night. Usually I drop every Tuesday night and Friday night. There were some technical issues that were beyond my control. Things had to be redone. So, yes, this one's coming a little bit late. I apologize. But hopefully won't miss the mark again. Today on Rewind, I am still in Indieland, and it's such a fun place to be, and this is a good one. So it was worth that little bit of an extra wait because a couple of the films I've released haven't been as strong in the reviews, but here we're getting a little stronger. Today I'm talking about McGowan Films' The Rage in Placid Lake. Written and directed by Tony McNamara, the film was released in the summer of 2003 solely in its native Australia. Now, if you're thinking, wait, I remember watching Lake Placid. That was a US film that starred national treasure Betty White, who hoped the alligator would swallow everyone whole. Wrong film. Here's Placid Lake, not Lake Placid. Flip it. That one's a fun horror comedy. This one is a fun comedy. The Rage in Placid Lake didn't make it to the States until the DVD was distributed here in 2004. So, for the box office, as per Box Office Mojo, the film's sole take is made up of its international numbers, which is worldwide in Australia, where the film made $284,808 during its run. Critically, the film on Rotten Tomatoes is a little bit of a mixed bag. It sits with a critical rating of 56%, but this is only culled from 16 reviews, whereas on the popcorn meter, formerly the audience score, the film with over 5,000 ratings sits at an 80%. So, let's get into it. As for why this film is here, it is for the film's writer and director, Mr. McNamara. Now, many of us are familiar for his many collaborations with two-time Oscar winner Emma Stone. McNamara wrote the screenplays for Cruella, The Favorite, which was what he received his first Oscar nomination for Best Original Screenplay that he shared with Deborah Davis. And this past year, he received his second Oscar nomination for Best Adapted Screenplay as he adapted Poor Things, another Emma Stone vehicle. But over 20 years ago, The Rage in Placid Lake marked McNamara's first written feature film, which is also only one of his two directing credits. We'll talk about that later. Now, The Rage in Placid Lake had a fairly successful awards run in its native Australia. McNamara won two Australian Writers Guild Awards, one for feature film, and another one in a category simply named Major Award. The film was also voted most popular feature film at the Melbourne International Film Festival and winner of Best Adapted Screenplay by the Australian Film Institute, along with several other nods and victories throughout Australian festivals and organizations. So, placid, a word that means calm, peaceful, or undisturbed. Here is the name of our protagonist, played by Ben Lee. However, he is anything but. Right from the jump of the film in a flashback, we see that his hippie parents, he informs us via voiceover, Sylvia and Doug Lake, played wonderfully by Miranda Richardson and Gary McDonald, respectively, sent him to elementary school in a dress in order to challenge his peers' views of sexuality and gender identity. This, of course, will lead to a lifetime of bullying, but he has his very intelligent friend Gemma, who, when we get to adulthood, is played by Rose Byrne in one of her earlier film roles, and she's right there to throw the punch and defend him. Then we will quickly do a time jump to getting ready for graduation. Placid and Gemma are contemplating their next moves. Gemma is all set to go to university and study the major sciences, and Placid, well, upon receiving an award and a scholarship for making a film that calls out the negative behaviors of his peers, is, well, put in a situation that leads to him making history by breaking every bone in his body. And as a result of this, he becomes what his parents, I'm sorry, not all, but what his parents have always feared. Upon healing, he becomes a man in a bespoke suit, working the traditional 9 to 5 white collar job for an insurance company and working for the man. But he's now believing after these injuries that money is important and what he needs to build his life. He even finds that by acting a certain way in this new company, it can get him promoted and move him forward, which causes some rifts with some coworkers. And it seems no matter what he does to try to live his normal existence, he always seems to upset someone. And not only are his parents concerned with this new traditional lifestyle change, so is Gemma. But he gets attracted to the life, the money, the casual sex. Yes, there's quite a unique relationship with one of Placid's coworkers. And in all this, he has to, he figures I've got what I need. Through a series of events, we will follow Placid to see just how these new views on life take him on his journey and make him question what did cause this change, and were the actions of my past worth it? Are the actions of what I'm doing now worth this? And can I maintain the relationships from my past and also the new ones I have in the future? Look, this was a really charming, awkward film. It was delightful in its absurdity, which is something McNamara seems to excel in, as many of the projects he's written tend towards the absurd. I mean, if we look at the larger than life things in Poor Things and Cruella and The Favorite, amongst some of the other work he's done, Lee, in the lead role as Placid, who's more known for his singing and music career, he's quite the charmer as Placid. He really presents that everyman hero that, a lot of socially awkward teens might have looked to. Given the character name and the circumstances he's in, he creates a real fun character. And while there is, in many ways, a lot of rage inside him, there are very smart choices when he chooses to unleash or rather to quell this rage that he feels, which makes for some interesting character choices. And Byrne, as his trusty will they won't they female friend, she's just so, I'm going to use the word adorkable and socially weird in her glasses and her long skirts. At times you just want to kind of tap her on the head and be like, "Oh, honey." But she's a delight, and the chemistry the two have does make for an enjoyable film to watch. And you almost want to dismiss a film like this, but if you go with it, you see that this absurdity is actually the heart of the film, and all of the cast leans into this style, which could have been why the critics didn't love it as much as the wider range of audience scores in the Popcorn Meter show were into. I mean, Richardson and McDonald's as Placid parents are a laugh riot, and Nicholas Hammond as Gemma's father, they kind of present the epitome in some ways of how parents shouldn't raise their children. I mean, Gemma's dad is always smiling with his whole, "Hey, honey, which side of science are you studying? Chemistry, biochemistry? It doesn't matter, but you're going to uni. That's where you will be successful. It's what you're meant to do." McNamara really crafts a fun tale to follow with delightful performance, and although some of the subject matter he taps into is a little bit dark, there's enough of a satirical tone that helps support it, that doesn't make it fall down the rabbit hole. Very tonally, it's balanced. In fact, if you're looking for something that's similar in the comedy style, it's kind of akin, almost like a spiritual soul brother film or soul sister film to Napoleon Dynamite. Broad characteristic characters in a very naturalistic setting that, make us laugh as they go through their traditional day to day. And also another film comparison for which the company for which Placid works, you may, if you see this, feel a little bit of an office space vibe and almost wonder if someone's going to walk up to him and ask him to put the correct cover sheet on the TPS report. And look, what I'm going to say, and this is, I'm meaning this as a compliment. This film doesn't try hard to be entertaining. It sticks its landing nicely and is entertaining. It's not trying too hard. So I applaud it for that. So for me, I am in line with the popcorn meter. This film is a solid 4-star film. It was nice to see some of Burns' early work, and McNamara is a very talented director. It's a shame that there's only one more film of his that he's directed for me to see, which is 2015's Ashby, which I am going to be seeking out. So, if you would like to watch The Rage in Placid Lake, unless you happen to be able to have a hold of a DVD copy, you can get some pre-owned options or a little more expensive new options through Amazon. But it is not streaming anywhere. It is not on any platforms, and it is not in a discounted release, even though you'd only find it on DVDs. But you never know. If you're not ready yet and you want to hold off, maybe it will pop up somewhere. So, there you have it. As always, if you like what you heard here, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and spread the word. You can follow me on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd. Find lots of great stuff on my website, cinephilemike.com. There'll be some great new print reviews coming in a few weeks from my coverage of the 36th annual New York LGBTQ plus film festival in the next couple of weeks from Newfest. You won't want to miss it. So, until next time, happy watching, everyone. This is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.